Good afternoon, brethren. This is Big Judah coming to you guys from California. Before I begin, I want to give all praises to the Most High, Yahweh. I also want to acknowledge my earthly mother, who is wisdom, who is the Holy Spirit. I also want to acknowledge Yahweh Shai. I pray that the Most High blesses this lesson today and gives us even deeper understanding of the things that have happened to us in the past, things that are currently transpiring here in the present, things that soon to come on this earth here in the future. Wanted to get in touch with the brethren, make this video talking about how biblical prophecy is being fulfilled right before our eyes. Came across this video, after the incident happened over there in Washington D.C. and the brothers over in HOI were preaching and all the stuff that was happening with the Native American gentleman and the kids that were there from the private Catholic school, and with their Make America Great Again hats and all the stuff that transpired with that, and how it's kind of brought some more attention to the brethren, to the Israelite community, and the way that the media tries to portray, this movement. They would, refer to it as a movement. We know it's an awakening. And it's amazing because you can see how they're trying to manipulate the narrative and paint, the Hebrews a certain way, which is to be expected. But it's funny when they kind of just trot out a black face, because they seem to think that we're all very simple, and that if, and that all black people are the same and that we all think the same way. So if we trot out one black person out there who has a different opinion or point of view than us Hebrews, then they've pretty much debunked everything that we bring forth. So I'm going to present to you Exhibit A of who they trotted out. This guy. And I'm sure some people have already seen this guy's video. And I'm going to play the video shortly. And then we're going to work to show how this dude right here is just being used to fulfill biblical prophecy. Because that's all that it is. I'm not going to get into what he says that much because, he really doesn't say anything. And it's like they find the lowest common denominator of as far as someone who understands this awakening and has tried out a comedian. Because that's pretty much what they do. They just try to keep our people asleep. So you try out someone like this. Yeah, he looks like us. So therefore people will try to give him some, validity because, hey, he's a so-called black man. So if he doesn't agree with him, then those Hebrews must be crazy. But they'll never look into the meat of the matter. They never look into the content of what our people are saying. They just try to quickly dismiss, our whole awakening as a group. Because once you start to actually look at what we're saying and realize that it all lines up with Scripture, as well as history, as well as hidden books, as well as hidden history, when you start to realize that all of these things match up and the things that we're saying are true. So, then that makes you then have to kind of reconsider everything that you've been taught. And most people aren't willing to do that. They're too comfortable. But the Most High is soon to come and take away that comfort and take away that option to be able to bury your head in the sand and just act like you don't hear anything that the brethren are saying. I'm going to let this guy's video play. It's just a little 2-minute clip. And then we're going to come back and get into some Scripture and kind of get into a little bit more in depth how he's playing into Scripture, how he's playing into biblical prophecy, and kind of take note as to how he tries to debunk what the Hebrew Israelites are saying. People might not like the way that some of the brethren are a little more aggressive, a little more antagonizing, sometimes even vulgar. Some of them a little smoother with the way they talk. We all have our gifts, and we're all different parts of the body. and the Most High uses us to touch different people depending upon, what background they come from. All going to be the same. So let's go ahead and check out this clip and look at how they try to debunk what the real Hebrews are saying now during this awakening.
Hebrew Israelites. I mean, when I just think about Hebrew Israelite and you black, man, if y'all don't sit y'all ass down somewhere, you know damn well y'all from on the west side of Chicago. Some of y'all probably from Philly, Now all of a sudden y'all some Hebrew Israelites. Boy, I tell you, bro, you know what? Them kids wasn't bothering y'all or nothing. Y'all talking about, look at these crackers and all that. Y'all some black supremacist bastards. I wear this hat. Do I look like a white supremacist? Huh? Do I look like a cracker? I wear this hat because of people like y'all. You talking about some damn Hebrew Israelite. I tell you what, take y'all ass over to Israel and say you're a Hebrew and see how many Israelites. Every time I say it, you know your uncle named Junebug, your cousin named Lil Larry, and your auntie named Flo. Hebrew Israelites. Sound like a medicine. Hey, can I have 2 Hebrew Israelites and a can of baked beans to go with that? Y'all ought to be ashamed of yourself. Gonna pick on some damn kids. Go sit y'all ass down somewhere, shave, trim your face up, brush your teeth, and get some dignity about yourself. Damn Hebrew Israelites. Knowing your name, Junebug. Go Trump or cry.
All right. Now, this is nothing new. This guy might be one of our people. He might not be. But he's being used to try to diminish the awakening. And you know what? It's going to work. It's going to work on 90% of the population, 90% of our own, if around there, who knows? It's going to work on a whole lot of people. Because this dude here is very simple. I'm sure he's very oblivious to many of the things that we teach. And he's just being used to keep many of the other people who are oblivious in this life, in this world, to continue with the same things that they do every day. They don't try, like I said, they never try to attack what we say. Because at this point, we all understand that the truth you can't mess with. The truth is the truth, and you can't mess with it because it's being validated every day in history through all these historical finds. The things that we go through in society, the Bible, the other scriptures. The truth is now out where they can't fight it anymore. So now they're going to have to just try to diminish it. And a vast majority of people who don't want to look for the truth are going to look at someone like that, laugh, and then keep it moving. Oh, I knew those people weren't about anything anyways. Did you ever look at any of the information? Did you ever study the stuff out? Nah. But, I've never heard of Hebrew Israelites, so that can't be true. That can't. Yeah, they wouldn't lie to us about any of this stuff. Well, if that's what you think. But like I said, this is all biblical prophecy. The awakening in the lands of our captivity. the people who have not been chosen to see the truth, laughing, thinking it's a joke, because their faith is in this system. Their faith is in Esau's system. And that's all that the Most High has allowed them to know. Okay? And the claim that the Hebrew community makes is a very bold claim. For us to be claiming that we are the sons and daughters of the Most High, I know is a very bold claim, but it's one that we can back up with truth. Now let's kind of take a look at a couple scriptures here, because we're going to get into, let's see, let's go here to Psalms 83 real quick. See, Psalms 83 verses 2 through 4. Because us losing our heritage was a prophecy. Psalms 83, 2 through 4. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. They've all come together to make us hidden. Okay? They have said, come, and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. And that's exactly what they did. The Israelites of the past are not known anymore, or they have not been known. But now we're standing up and claiming our rightful heritage, and many don't agree. Laugh about it, make jokes about it, but that's all part of the game. Okay? Now, let me get some of my notes over here. We know that when the Spanish came over here, they made huge mountains of our books and burned them. And I'm trying to see here in my notes. Let's see. On one of my books that I've used it before, is my pyramid book that I actually have. It's on page 20. It discusses how the clergy destroyed everything they could find of native culture in documents, history, myth, legend. They obliterated it because the natives had a carefully chronicled history. Okay, and the natives had a great many books, and they went through looking for any information, books, anything they could find, and they burned all of them. And that all goes with that Psalms 83 verses 2 through 4. Okay, that's what they said. That's what was said was they were going to do, so that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance, and then they can give us new identities, which is exactly what they did as well. So when that guy over there was laughing about us, growing up in Chicago, growing up in in different areas, because our true history has been hidden until now. And now that we're standing up to claim it, they're doing everything that they can in order to not to keep the prophecies from being fulfilled. Now we go to Hosea 1 and 10. I'm going to show actually that Hosea 1 and 10 later on in one of my older Bibles, but I'm going to just read it for right now. Let's see. Hold on. Here we go. Let's start at 9. Hosea 1 and 9. Then said the Most High, called his name Lo-Ami, for ye are not my people, and I will not be your God. And that's when the Most High, let us go into the hands of our enemies, because we had serve our punishment for this last 400 years, and they took away our knowledge and understanding of who we are. Let's continue with 1 and 10. Yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea, which cannot be measured nor numbered. And it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, ye are not my people. And that's what you're seeing right now. All these people are saying, you are not his people. You are not the Most High's chosen people. You are nothing. I was looking at something and it was talking about how black people just we try to steal other people's identities because we don't have a history. Well, yeah, we don't have a history because you guys took it from us. You burned all the books, you burned all the information, and you told us who we were. But the Most High said in the last days, he was going to raise us up. And let's continue with that 10. And it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, ye are not my people, there it shall be said unto them, ye are the sons of the living power. And that's what's going to happen. Okay? That we're going to be in this land. People are going to be not knowing who we are. When we do try to stand up, people are going to fight it. They're not going to just accept it until the Most High shows up with his son in power and makes it so they can't. It'll be undeniable. Let's read Psalms 50, verse 21. These things hast thou done, and I kept silence. They've done all these things to us. They've gotten together and consulted together against us. They've destroyed our history, destroyed our people, and the Most High was silent while this was all happening. Okay? These things hast thou done, and I kept silence. Thou thoughtest that I was altogether such as one as thyself. So the whole world thinks that, they're the people, that they're the Most Highest people because they've been blessed here. So that's why people, they're in the land over there. That's God's chosen land. Those are God's chosen people. Look at how blessed they are. That's why this whole world is lost. Okay? Let me continue here. These things hast thou done, and I kept silence. Thou thoughtest that I was altogether such as one as thyself. But I will reprove thee and set them in order before thine eyes. He's going to reprove the other nations for the lies that they've told. And he's going to set us up before their eyes, and they're going to see it. So when you see a guy like that laughing and making jokes and acting like there's no way that we could be the people, he's fulfilling prophecy, and so are we. Because now we know that at the end of this 400 years, as we come to the end of this 400 years, the awakening is going to just accelerate even more so. All right? So he's going to reprove these other nations and set us back up. Now, we did grow up not knowing who we were. We grew up, because we were serving that punishment, blind to the fact of who we were. And we're going to read this part here from this. This is called the letter of Second Clement. It's a Lost Scriptures book. We're going to read chapter 1, verses 6 through 8. So, like I said, when the guy was talking about how, we grew up in Chicago, grew up in Philly, grew up in these different areas, it's true. We grew up and we didn't know who we were, but we were chosen before we were even born. That's why some of us are awakened and many of us are not. Let's read this real quick. We were maimed in our understanding, worshiping stones and pieces of wood and gold and silver and copper, all of them made by humans. And our entire life was nothing other than death. Then when we were beset by darkening gloom, our vision blurred by such mist, we regained our sight through his will, by setting aside the cloud that enveloped us. For he showed mercy on us, and through his compassion saved us. For he saw that a great error and destruction was in us, and that we had not the slightest hope of being saved, unless it came through him. For he called us while we did not exist, and he wished us to come into being from non-being. So, yes, we grew up not knowing who we were. That's why when we do get awakened, it's so hard for our families to accept it, because they knew us before we came into this truth. They knew how we used to do all the same things that they used to do. We used to eat pork, used to eat catfish, used to eat shrimp, used to do Christmas. We're probably some of the the most you know, hardcore in these and some of these holidays. You know, we used to get all fat, eating Thanksgiving dinner, eating that turkey, watching that football. You know, we used to all be into that, the vast majority of us. And then we got chosen, and then we got enlightened, and then we walked away from it. So then a lot of people now, you know, look at us sideways because, you know, hey, we knew you guys grew up. You used to do the same stuff that we do. Now all of a sudden you think you're better than us because now, you know, you're reading the Bible. You ain't better than us. You're exactly the same as we are. Well, like I said, it's all about being chosen. And that's what this is talking about right here. Most I was here to, he sent the Holy Spirit to fix what was broken. We were broken, no understanding. And all we had looking for us was death until he awakened us. All right. Now, this is from the book of Thomas. It's in the Nag Hammadi, page 243. And this describes that guy's video to the T. It describes him to the T. It describes the 90% or plus or whoever's going to listen to this guy just walk away from the truth. This might have been many of your people's chance to accept the truth. This incident that happened in CNN, the incident when you got exposed to who the Hebrew Israelites are, maybe it's the first time some people heard of it. And you had your opportunity right then. Just how the Most High leaves those seeds and the devil comes by and takes those seeds from certain people depending on the ground that it lands on. Exactly the same thing here. Most High, the devil used this guy in this video in order to be able to take those seeds away from many people who might have had the opportunity to start looking into the truth, looking into, hey, what are these guys talking about? I want to know more. But instead of looking into it, they follow the demons, and they just kind of, okay, that doesn't sound right either. I'm just gonna walk away. So I said the devil he's got his tactics as well, and uses someone like that who's gonna make something funny, make some jokes, and then people are just gonna walk away. Check out the part here in the yellow. You laugh, you rejoice in mad laughter. You do not perceive your destruction, neither do you perceive your plight, nor have you understood that you dwell in darkness and death. Rather, you are drunk with fire, full of bitterness. Your hearts are deranged because of the smoldering within you, and the poison and blows of your enemies are a delight to you. Darkness has risen in you like the light, for you have surrendered your freedom to slavery. You have darkened your hearts and surrendered your minds to foolishness. You have filled your minds with the smoke of the fire within you, and your light has been hidden in the dark cloud. You love the garment you wear, although it is filthy, and you have been gripped by non-existent hope. You have believed in what you do not know. You all live in bondage, but pride yourself in your freedom. You have baptized your souls in the water of darkness. You have pursued your own riches or wishes. That dude wearing the Make America Great Again hat, they're always talking about their freedoms and things like that. That's what this guy's talking about right there. And that's why it says, you have believed in what you do not know. You all live in bondage, but pride yourselves in your freedom. This guy here thinks that he's free. None of us are free. Either we're all subject to someone. Either we're subject to the right-hand side, the Most High, or the left-hand side. One or the other. There are no independent contractors. So we're all either on one side or the other. With the Satan and his angels, or the Most High. But like I said at the beginning, you laugh and you rejoice in mad laughter. You do not perceive your destruction. Neither do you perceive your plight. Okay? Nor have you understood that you dwell in darkness and death. These people don't understand that they dwell in darkness because they are ignorant and have no idea about what they are trying to downplay. They're downplaying the Most High's people awakening and acting like it's a joke. And that's okay at this point, because after you make these videos, you can go about your life. thinking you're going to have the weekend, you're going to watch some basketball this weekend and get ready for the Super Bowl next weekend. But as you can tell, things are changing rapidly, and the Most High is moving, and he's accelerating the awakening of his people. Okay? Now, I know some people, that have watched the videos, and they hear, bad language of some of the Hebrews, or they talk about how, they present themselves. And like I said before, it all depends on the backgrounds of the individuals. The Most High uses this as well. You got to understand, some people, some of the brethren do use vulgar language, but listen to what they're talking about. Don't let the language corrupt the message. So sometimes maybe the Most High is using that kind of language as well to keep people away from the truth as well. He doesn't want them, because most of us, especially a lot of the women, have grown up in churches, and a lot of these, if you grew up Catholic, you got a lot of these soft-spoken priests, and they think that that's church. And that if you're talking a little more aggressively, many women don't like that. They feel it's like threatening. All right. And some men as well, because, they've been conditioned to believe that Jesus, because it's the white Jesus, he's soft looking, he loves everybody, that, and your purity is based on, how smooth you say things, and how, soft you feel, you present yourselves. So coming out of these religions, we, many people equate godliness with softness, and that's just not the way that it is. And many people are going to walk away from even attempting to get into the truth because of the way someone speaks or the way someone presents themselves. Concentrate on the words that are being spoken, not necessarily the way they're being delivered. So it all depends on the individual. Some of us like that, some of us don't. It all depends on the individual. But the Most High, will attract the right people to the message that he has, and if they're chosen, it doesn't matter how it's being presented. They're going to continue to look and search to find the truth. So like I said, the Most High also blocks people, and he might have you hear some of these words that they're talking about, but you can't get past the language. Now, what I kind of find funny is that with a lot of people, they talk about, how aggressive some of the Hebrews are, or things like that, and how they present their message. How was Christianity spread to our people? Was Christianity spread lovingly, with a soft voice, very tender-hearted? Was that how Christianity was spread? No, that's not how it was spread. It was very violent, extremely violent. And we're going to take a look at that. So, and these are the ones that are trying to, now that with the awakening is happening, they're the ones trying to dictate how it needs to happen. Well, if you want to, talk to us, you need to, come and say it a certain way. You need to come and talk to us a certain way. Well, like I said, I'm not here for everyone, and neither are my brethren. We are here for the ones that the Most High has chosen to wake up. And depending on it, won't matter if we say things. If we say that we're the Most High's chosen people, and that you have to pay for the sins of your father, and that we're going to be restored. And some of the and the Most High has some Gentiles that are going to be with us as servants and handmaids. And the Most High, had us in bondage for 400 years, and he's about to now recompense the world for what they did to his people. Does it matter how I say it? Because I don't really think that many people are going to really embrace that message if I say it nicely or if I say it aggressively, because it's not a necessarily a heartwarming message for many people. But let's take a look at how Christianity was spread to our people. And then after you take a look at how it was spread to our people, then let me know how, our people should be, as far as now that we're telling you the truth. how we're being held to standards that no one has, followed. Check this out. I got this from one of the videos from Karimio. I was named there at the bottom. He's got a lot of great information, and I'm going to be sharing some of the information that he got here. This is from, I want to say, the American Holocaust. Okay, the American Holocaust book. And one of my brothers had to get it to me because I lost the picture, and he got it to me today. So thanks. You know who you are. And let's see here. Following, we're going to read the bottom there. Let me see. Hold on. All right, the bottom part where it says, following Columbus, each time the Spanish encountered a native individual or group in the course of their travels, they were ordered to read to the Indians a statement informing them of the truth of Christianity and the necessity to swear immediate allegiance to the Pope and to the crown. After this, if the Indians refused or even delayed in their acceptance, or more likely their understanding of the requerimiento, the statement continued. Here is, I think, the statement right here. On page 66 of American Holocaust. I certify to you that, with the help of of God, we shall powerfully enter into your country and shall make war against you in all ways and manners that we can, and shall subject you to the yoke and obedience of the church and of their highnesses. We shall take you and your wives and your children, and shall make slaves of them, and as such shall sell and dispose of them as their highnesses may command. And we shall take your goods, and shall do you all the mischief and damage that we can, as to vassals who do not obey and refuse to receive their Lord and resist and contradict him. So this is how Christianity was spread. They would pretty much read this to them, and then by the time they finished it, they just started attacking and killing, raping their women, raping their daughters, killing the men, enslaving them. This is how Christianity was spread. So now that we're being awakened, we're now being told that we need to be nice. We need to be cordial. Does that make any sense? Hold on real quick. Because that's not even how Christianity was spread. Christianity was never a, hey, we love everyone, let's all come together, let's hold hands and love each other. See, they can kind of push those kinds of ideas, but that's never how it was practiced. So let me read another one. I'm going to read a couple of excerpts from my book from De las Casas, because it goes along with this as well. Let me get here. Again, this is my Bartolome de las Casas, a short account of the destruction of the Indies. Page 52. Page 52 through 54. So when they see Christianity being spread in practice, okay? Let me see here where I want to start. The claim of the Spanish crown, that they were making good the claim of the Spanish crown to the territories in question. I think this is actually in New Spain right here, okay? Let's see here. At no stage had any order been issued entitling them to massacre the people or to enslave them. Yet, whenever the natives did not drop everything and rush to recognize publicly the truth of the irrational and illogical claims that were made, and whenever they did not immediately place themselves completely at the mercy of the iniquitous and cruel and bestial individuals who were making such claims, this is when the Spanish would come and read their papers to them, okay? They were dubbed outlaws. That's what they did to the natives. So if they didn't just drop everything at that time, right away, they were dubbed outlaws and held to be in rebellion against His Majesty. This indeed was the tenor of the letters that were sent back to the Spanish court, and everybody involved in the administration of the New World was blind to the simple truth enshrined in the first principles of law and government, that nobody who is not a subject of a civil power in the first place can be deemed in law to be in rebellion against that power. Any reasonable person who knows anything of God, of rights, and of civil law can imagine for himself what the likely reaction would be of any people living peaceably within their own frontiers, unaware that they owe allegiance to anyone save their natural lords. Were a stranger suddenly to issue a demand along the following lines: "You shall henceforth obey a foreign king whom you have never seen nor ever heard of, and if you do not, we will cut you to pieces." So this is just something that's very foreign to them, okay? And then pretty much if you don't do it, we're going to cut you into pieces. And trust me, they did that many times. Let me continue. Especially when they discover that these strangers are indeed quite prepared to carry out this threat to the letter. Even more shocking is the fact that when the local people do obey such commands, they are harshly treated as common slaves, put to hard labor, and subjected to all manner of abuse and to agonizing torments that ensure a slower and more painful death than would summary execution. Indeed, for them, the end result is the same. They, their wives, and their children all perish, and the whole of their nation is wiped from the face of the earth. And so blinded by an ambition and driven by greeds are the devils who advocate such treatment of these people, that they cannot see that when their victims come to obey under duress this foreign overlord and publicly recognize his authority over them, simply because of their fear of what will happen to them if they do not. Such a recognition of suzerainty has no standing in law whatever. Any such prerogative obtained by ministers from any people anywhere in the world being invalid. In practice, the only rights these perfidious crusaders have, let's see here, have earned and can be upheld in human, divine, or natural law, or the right to eternal damnation, and the right to answer for the offenses and the harm they have done the Spanish crown by utterly ruining every one of these kingdoms, and as far as it is within their power, and validating all claims the Spanish crown may have to the territories of the New World. These, then, are the true services that they have performed and continue to perform for their sovereign in this part of the world. Okay, I'm going to read one more here, another account. Because, I mean, they're pretty much just saying out, they're spreading Christianity, and I don't want to hear, well, they're Catholics. Christians did exactly the same thing when they got here to North America. They raped, robbed, stole land, kept taking more land, broke 500 treaties, enslaved people, same thing. It wasn't like they did anything more noble here. They did exactly the same thing. That's how, then they came here supposedly to spread Christianity. And they did exactly the same things. Okay, so we're going to read page 60. This is going to be an account here of what happens, because the natives, it got to a point where they were just trying to, they knew that they could not fight the Spanish. They knew that they were going to be cursed, that they had to serve their 400-year punishment. So they were going to just bow their necks and do whatever it was that they wanted. Serve these Spanish conquerors. And this is what happened to them, Remember now, they're spreading their Christianity, and this is how they did it. So were they loving like they want us to be, and all embracing and just loving everyone? Let's see. Let's see here. They came into a place here in Guatemala. Let's see here. And at that time, the capital of a rich province running along the Pacific coast for some 40 or 50 leagues, and also called Cuscatlan. The local people mounted a huge formal welcome for this butcher. This is the commander of the Spanish group here, okay? With some 20 or 30,000 of them lining the streets to offer hens and other foodstuffs. No sooner had they received these gifts Then he instructed every man in his entourage to take as many of the locals as he wanted to act as his servants during his stay in the area and to minister to his needs. Most of them took in 50, some as many as 100, depending on how many each judged he would need to satisfy his every whim. These poor wretches went unprotestingly like lambs to the slaughter. To the man who selected them, doing everything their Spanish captain, actually their new master, asked of them, and treating him almost as a god. The Spanish captain, meanwhile, requested the local dignitaries to bring him large quantities of gold. This being the main object of the expedition, the locals said that they would willingly give him all the gold they had and collected together a vast number of gilt copper hatchets that are in common use among them, and which have the appearance of gold because they do have some gold in them. The captain ordered his men to test them by scratching the surface of the metal, and as soon as he saw that they were in fact made of copper, addressed his men, saying, "The devil take this place. There is no gold for us here. Men, let's be off, and let each take with him his local servants. Put them in chains and brand them as slaves." And this is what they did, tying up everyone they could catch and branding them. And I myself saw the son of one of the leading citizens of the city branded with his majesty's mark as a common slave. Once the people of the area and those from the town who had managed to escape the clutches of the Spaniards saw the evil that had been brought upon their fellow countrymen, they began to band together and take up arms against the tormentors. Okay, so that's what happened right there. And I want to read one more part. Let's continue here. We can continue on the bottom of 61. Thus it was that in this way and others they plundered and ravaged an area of more than 100 leagues by 100 leagues. That was among the most fertile and most heavily peopled on earth. Okay, so it's the most fertile land, and there's teeming with people. Like I said, we were going to be like the sands of the sea. That's what it's talking about right here. Killing all the leaders among the native population, and with all men of military age dead, reducing the survivors to the hell of slavery. And when they pressed for further slaves to be handed over by way of tribute, the natives gave up their own sons and daughters, as they had no further slaves to surrender. And all were sent by boat to Peru to be auctioned. There's your Deuteronomy 28:68. When everyone keeps saying that they had to come from Africa, they had to come from Africa. This is showing you that they took these people on ships, took them to Peru, and sold them there. And they did this also on the islands as well. So let me read that one more time. As they had no further slaves to surrender, and all were sent by boat to Peru to be auctioned, as this very butcher himself was quite accurately to record in writing. There were more people in this region than in the whole of the kingdom of Mexico. So this was how Christianity was spread, with the sword, with making these edicts and these proclamations that these people could not even understand. So please don't come to me now and saying that you need to, present your information lovingly to me or be nice with it. If the Most High wants you to get it, you will see past however the information is presented. And like I said, many people might not agree. That's okay. Okay? There's certain people I like to listen to. There's other people I don't necessarily listen to. But it's not going to deter if I'm going to get the information or not. So it all just kind of depends. All right. I'm not defending one or the other. I'm just telling you this is the way that Christianity was spread. So they're in no position to tell other people how they need to present their message, because their message was not presented that way. They have no moral standing to tell us anything anymore. And here's another one real quick. This is from another video. I don't remember the name of the video, but it's kind of giving some information here. kind of like some prophecy and what happened to what the real Christians did and what these Christians from Europe brought to our lands here. Okay. Let's see. Let's start with very many were the head chiefs, and many a conspiracy they made with one another, but they are not made known in what is written here. Not so much will be related. Still, he who comes from our lineage will know it. One of us who are Maya men. He will know how to explain these things when he reads what is here. Later on in the future, the Most High is going to wake up his men and going to be the ones that are going to be able to read this information and put it together. These are like future prophecies of what's going to happen here in the future, which is exactly what is happening now. And it shows you how it goes through lineage, it goes through bloodlines. It's not open to just anyone. Okay? When he sees it, then he will explain the adjustment of the intricacy of the cartoon by our priest, Akin Kuxluk, but Kuxlux was not his name formerly. It was only because these priests of ours were to come to an end when misery was introduced. Here we go. When Christianity was introduced by the real Christians, these are talking about the Europeans. Then with the true God, the true Dios, came the beginning of our misery. Yeah, these Europeans brought our misery. It was the beginning of tribute, the beginning of church dues, the beginning of strife with purse snatching, the beginning of strife with blowguns, the beginning of strife by trampling on people, the beginning of robbery with violence, the beginning of forced debts, the beginning of debts enforced by false testimony, the beginning of individual strife, and a beginning of vexation, a beginning of robbery with violence. This was the source of service to the Spaniards and priests, of service to the local chiefs. And this was written a long time ago. This is giving you a history of what was going to happen. Okay? So, now, prophecy being fulfilled is what you're seeing right now. Again, with that Hosea 1 and 10. Yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea. And I just read that account about how populated the area was, how fertile the land was, okay, which cannot be measured nor numbered. And it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, ye are not my people, there it shall be said unto them, ye are the sons of the living God. And that is precepted right there with Romans 9. We're going to read Romans 9, let's say 24 through to 26. We'll read that real quick. Chapter 9, verses 24. Even us, whom he hath called, not of the Jews only, but also of the Gentiles. As he saith also in OC, I will call them my people, which were not my people, and her beloved, which was not beloved. And it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, ye are not my people, there shall they be called the children of the living power. That's what you're seeing now, the awakening. And let's read one more here, Romans 11, 25 through 27. For I would not, brethren, that ye should be ignorant of this mystery, lest ye should be wise in your own conceits, that blindness in part is happened to Israel until the fullness of the Gentiles be come in. And the time of the Gentiles, the fullness of the Gentiles is coming to an end, and that's why our people are awakening. Okay? And continue. And so all of Israel shall be saved, as it is written, there shall come out of Zion the deliverer, and shall turn away ungodliness from Jacob. For this is my covenant unto them, when I shall take away their sins. He's going to take away our sins, he's going to forgive us, and he's going to restore us. And that's exactly what you're seeing. And many people who have not been awakened will think that it's crazy, will think that it's funny, will laugh, but we'll see who laughs at the end. Last thing I'm going to read here from the Gospel of Philip. Again, this is in the Nag Hammadi, page 185. Talking about this guy's video, himself, and many people who think like him. Ignorance is the mother of all evil. Ignorance leads to death, because those who come from ignorance neither were, nor are, nor will be. But those in the truth will be perfect when all truth is revealed. For truth is like ignorance. While hidden, truth rests in itself. But when revealed and recognized, truth is praised, and that it is stronger than ignorance and error. It gives freedom. The word says, if you know the truth will make you free. Ignorance is a slave. Knowledge is freedom. If you know the truth, we shall find the fruit of truth within us. If we join with it, it will bring us fulfillment. That's so true. Ignorance is a slave. Knowledge is freedom. Knowledge is freedom from having to try to get other people to agree with us, because we know that the only people that will agree are the people that have knowledge and understanding. And that's why it's a beautiful thing at this point to see the awakening that is happening. So that gentleman was that was running his mouth earlier in the video. He's just fulfilling prophecy. He representing ignorance. Our brethren are representing knowledge and understanding. One side is representing death. One is representing life. All praises to the Most High, Yahweh. Again, acknowledgement to my earthly mother, who is wisdom, who is the Holy Spirit. Again, acknowledgement to Yahweh Shai. Shalom.